All right, let's get into Friday feedback for the week. We look at emails, YouTube comments, tweets. I guess now they're called excretions. Instagram, the entire thing. You might comment somewhere, and next thing you know, you're featured today. Just because of some of the messages I've gotten, we receive over 20,000 different sorts of feedback pieces every work week. That's like Monday to Friday, plus then weekends. So we only feature a few, and the idea is we try to get a representative sample of the different praise and criticism that is coming in. And we start with some of the most unhinged criticism. I genuinely do not understand this. I don't know what this person's talking about, but this is what we're up against. This is what Roy wrote in. Killbiden.com is a global warming climate change site. It is, with a Z, a redirect to Cotrain. I don't know what that means. Check it out and report unless you're, Y-O-U-R, a pussy. Killbiden.com goes to Cotrain.com, has a link to Rain Man Tom on the Cotrain site. The Rain Man Tom site tells how to modify the weather with a water hose, a bathroom air vent exhaust, and fire. LOLOLOLOLOLOL. I couldn't possibly comment on the level at which this exists, so I think we will leave it at that. But remember, those folks are allowed to vote. They're allowed to vote. Delane Harmon says, "Where did you get your info? This is one of the best presidents in history," referring to Trump. "He couldn't have become the millionaire billionaire he is if he was ignorant or never read a book. You don't know what you're talking about." So first of all, you can become a millionaire or a billionaire without reading a book. Trust me. I know many, not billionaires, but I know many millionaires who don't read any books. So for, your instinct there is wrong, sir or ma'am. But more importantly, the reason Trump became a billionaire is he started as a millionaire thanks to his dad's money. Mathematically, you can look at if Trump had just dumped the money into the S&P 500, he'd also be doing incredibly well, including actually by some calculations better than he is doing. So this notion that because you've secured a net worth of $1 million or $1 billion, you must be reading books. Getting a whole bunch of money from daddy is actually a much better way, I would argue statistically, than reading books. You could be reading bad books also. Who knows? Someone named Sabby Sabs says David Pakman is a Zionist. Dismiss anything he says about this subject. As I've mentioned before, this is one of the silliest arguments that one can make. This is like saying, dismiss the arguments of gay people when it comes to LGBT rights. It's just as dumb. And most importantly, if the argument is, by the way, Zionist could mean anything. Like sometimes when someone says you're a Zionist, you might just think, I don't think wishing for the destruction of Israel or elimination of Israel is legitimate. Zionist! Now, some people who are Zionists believe that Israel should take over all the land that is currently the West Bank and Gaza. I don't believe that. I actually think there should be a Palestinian state, but you should be very suspicious when you see that word because it can mean a million different things or nothing at all. But as I said before, if anyone who is Jewish, that's what she really means. If anyone who is Jewish can't have their opinion considered with regard to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict because they have a, quote, stake in the game, then by definition, anyone who's Palestinian also must be ignored because they also have a stake in the game. It's one of the dumbest arguments, usually comes from left-wingers. I don't know who this person is from a hole in the wall, but usually comes from left-wingers. Very, very silly argument, easily defeated. The sign of an unserious person when you see it. Next comment. Do you teach the kids the science between the unlimited number of genders they can choose? Maybe you can help them transition to a cat or dog or whatever they feel like that day. This is a reaction to my new children's book, Think Like a Scientist. The book doesn't go into gender. This is not a show where we talk about lists of genders you can choose or transitioning to an animal or anything like that. This is a show where we talk about respecting everybody, treating everybody the way we'd want to be treated. And we're going to continue doing that. So you can figure out for yourself if the book has anything you find inappropriate in it. You can check out a preview of the book, of all of the children's books I've written, at davidpakman.com/ and that's a / book. User True Slicky posted to the David Pakman Show subreddit. Nobody tell Cenk, presumably Cenk Uygur, nobody tell Cenk that Biden has outraised all Republican candidates combined over the last quarter. Might just prick whatever balloon Cenk is hiding in and let unwanted reality challenge his narrative that nobody wants Biden to continue for a second term. Yeah, listen, this is not about Cenk to me. This is something else. It's really easy to say no one's excited about voting for 80-year-old Biden. I can't really comment on that. What I can tell you is I am extraordinarily motivated to prevent Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis or any of these lunatics from getting 4 years in the Oval Office. So you could say, oh, but David, you're voting against Trump and you're not really voting for Joe Biden. Who cares? Okay. We have candidates. We say who's better, who's worse. I'm going to vote for whoever is better. Biden's better than Trump. Biden's better than DeSantis. And so I am very motivated, and maybe excited is the right word, to do what I can to prevent Trump from being the president. The chips can fall where they fall, and we can leave it there. Randall wrote in about Lauren Boebert and said, again, you speak about Lauren Boebert, but not about literally more than half of the Democrats who have done worse things. The double standards you have are crazy. Well, Randall, tell me which Democrats I'm not talking about. When it was Anthony Weiner, we talked about him. When it was the congressman with the bricks of cash in his freezer, Democrat, I forget his name, we talked about him. When it was Senator Menendez, we talked about him. Tell me, which Democrats am I not talking about that are doing more outrageous behaviors than Lauren Boebert? I'd love to know, because I think I've talked about all of them. Marvin Whitler asks, Dave, what's the difference between running a drag show to make money and then writing book telling kids it's all right to be gay for money? What is this person talking about? I guess they're saying that if I write a book that says to kids it's okay to be gay, that I'm just as bad as someone running a drag show. I don't think running drag shows is bad. I also don't do it. I don't think telling kids it's all right to be gay is bad. That's also not a topic in my children's books. So, as usual, confusion meets ignorance meets weaponized intentions. A lot of commentary about the book, actually. Daniel wrote in and said, this guy's next book should be named Think Like a Psychiatrist, but then you would have to diagnose the mental disorder of liberalism. Wow. Really well thought out, really well thought out. And lastly, I got a ton of feedback about the vegan caller who challenged me to a debate. And here is one reaction from Quincy. Quincy says, as a vegan who is also a David Pakman Show supporter, I do not want David to debate veganism. Veganism is one of those areas where I think it's okay to agree to disagree. It's a shame that some militant vegans try to harass anyone who disagrees with their lifestyle, diet, or worldview. While I do think it would benefit the environment and the world if people move toward a more plant-based diet, I know that it's not for everyone. So the overwhelming majority of respondents said they don't want me to do the vegan debate, not all for this particular reason, But overwhelmingly, people said for a number of different reasons that they don't think the vegan debate is worth it. To be totally honest, I already have decided I'm not doing it. So you don't need to continue writing in about the vegan debate. It's just not an interesting debate to have for me on this show. And the vast majority of the audience seems to be on the same page. So that'll be that. That is the final adjudication on the vegan debate, at least for now. And if something changes that makes me want to do a vegan debate on the show, then we will do it. And I will let you know if that happens. info@davidpakman.com. You can write in. Remember that following this is, of course, the daily bonus show. We do a bonus show every weekday for our members. You can sign up at joinpakman.com. And you can also use the coupon code 4 years for indictments, all one word, 4 years for indictments with the number 4. To get a 50% discount. So I hope to see you on the bonus show. If that is not in our futures collectively, then I'll see you back here on Monday.